Good evening. Good evening. Come on, come on, come on. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Listen, tell your friends. Get your friends. Get your friends that are couples. Get your friends who are getting married. Get your friends who are engaged. Get your friends and come on in the room with us. In this room where love still matters after the vow. And even before the vows. Come on in the room. Come on. I hope that you have a snack. I hope that you have a notebook. And I hope that you brought your best questions on tonight. Listen, I am Stacy.
I'm Ray.
And we are
the Lovebirds.
And we are your marriage coaches for the evening. Listen, so thank you so much for joining us. We put it out there early. Listen, all of our shows are never scripted. All of our shows are straight off the cuff. All of our shows are really spontaneous, and we are so excited to be here with you tonight on another night. Listen, introduce yourselves and let us know that you are here. Hey, Elder Trey, how are you? That's our nephew, Trey. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, let us know where you are from, what city and state you are from on tonight. Again, we are so excited to have you with us, the Bird Songs, your marriage coaches, Ray and Stacey, officially AKA known as the Lovebirds. Listen, so let's get into it. We don't want to waste too much time on tonight. We again are so glad that you are here joining us. And tonight we are going to talk about what does it mean to cover your spouse? What does it mean to cover your spouse? What is your definition of cover? What is your definition for covering your spouse? We want to hear from you. We love audience interaction. We love audience participation, and we love you tuning in each week to hear what we have to say. We are so delighted. So what does it mean when you hear someone say, I need to cover my spouse, or you should be covering your spouse, or we should be covering each other? What does that sound like? What does that look like? And what does that mean to those who are married? Or what does it mean to those who aren't married but looking to get married? What does that mean to you? Come on, we want to hear some participation from our audience. What does that mean to you? I'm gonna turn it over to my husband because he doesn't really do a lot of talking. He does a lot of sitting back. So I'm gonna start throwing some things into his lap. So why don't you start off and go ahead and share?
Okay. Covering is important. And as the name implies, it means an overhanging, or a form of protection for one another, not just the husband covering the wife, but the wife should cover her husband as well. Mm. And it's important that you establish early on in a relationship to need to cover, to cover one another. It's essential for that, because when you get into the mode of covering one another, what the world sees from the two of you, that you are a united front, that you truly are one flesh, as the word says. Okay? Thank you, Brother Trey. That's right. To cover, to pray, support, to encourage. Yes, Elder, thank you. It means that. And so we must learn in relationships, God covers us. He's our covering. He's our covenant partner, because we look to God to not only help us, but to take care of us and to nurture us. And this is what covering does for both parties. The man should cover the wife, and the wife should cover the man.
Exactly. I just want to say good evening to a few. Good evening to the Carols, Monica and Lauren. Good evening to Sharice Brown, to Missionary Addison. Thank you all so much for joining us. So we asked, what does it mean to cover right? And so my husband was sharing what it means to cover. It is important. Good evening, Allison. It's so important to cover each other throughout the day, right? So first thing in the morning when we rise up, what my husband does is he prays for me. He prays for my day. He prays that I have a prosperous day. He prays that I have a blessed day. Now, for those people who are not used to praying and doesn't really know what it means to pray is to have a simple conversation with God, right? Just like you would have a conversation with your husband on the phone, that you would have with your girlfriend or your friends or anyone on the phone. It's just or just a regular general conversation. Same thing with the Lord. It's that easy. Many people think that they can't pray. Everyone can pray. People think that the Lord only hears the prayers of the pastors, the preachers, the teachers, the apostles. Listen, we all know that that's not true. He hears everyone's prayers.
The Lord has inclined, as the Bible says, he's inclined his ear to his people.
And so everyone can pray. Everyone can pray. And so what that looks like for a couple, it's very significant in your marriage. It's very significant in your relationship, right? Because just to know, listen, when people are sick, right, it really encourages their spirit to know that people are praying for them to get well. Right? When you find out that your friend is praying for you to get well, or somebody sends you like a get well card, or somebody just reaches out to you to let you know that they are praying for you, how does that make you feel? I need to hear some participation from our audience. I know that there's a delay. I always turn my cell phone on so I can see comments too, as well as on the broadcast. But how does that make you feel, knowing that somebody is praying for you, that somebody is lifting you up, that somebody thought enough of you to pray for you?
And can I add this?
Add away.
Okay. For those of you who don't pray or know how to pray, you do it, but you don't call it praying. A simple gesture such as, have a good day, honey. That's covering. A simple gesture as, be safe on the way, is a covering. Any word of encouragement and protection and love is a type of covering.
Thank you, Allison, for saying you feel loved when you know that people are praying for you. And Monica saying she feels incredible. And Missionary saying, I consider a true blessing when I know that someone is praying for me. It gives me strength. Listen, what more valuable love than you can have from your spouse or significant other, just knowing that throughout the day, they are lifting me up. Listen, there's some days that I have bad days. And I just feel like I just want to throw my hands up, go sit in my car and just stay there for the remainder of the day, due from life's stress at work, right? And so there's a lot of times, not only is my husband covering me in prayer at home, but guess what? He'll send me a voice text message saying, honey, I pray that you have a blessed day. I know that this may not be one of your best days, but I pray that God turns it around. Now, listen, only God could share that with my husband on the days that I'm having a very rough day, or he's tapped in enough to know that his wife is not having the best day ever. Right. And so Trey's saying it shows the duality between the spouse and God when you have your spouse covering you. It's a blessing. It gives strength, love, support, and protection. Thank you, Trey. Yes, it does. It does all of those things. It does all of those things. And so what we are trying to establish tonight is to get couples to begin to pray for their spouse's significant other. Begin to lift them up. Listen, begin to ask God to take the weight off of them, right? Begin to ask God to take the pressures off of them. Nothing is more valuable than to know that my husband is covering me when I'm driving in my car, especially like today. In New England, we were here having a nor'easter, right? And so I had to go to a meeting prior to going to work, and it was raining so bad out there that my car was trying to hydroplane. My car was trying to do all different types of whatever was going on the highway. And I just began to pray. But not only as I prayed, I knew that when I left, my husband told me, hey, honey, be safe out there, right? So I knew that he was praying with me. 2 is better than 1, right? The word of the Lord says where one can set 1,000 to flight, but 2 can set 10,000. 3 can set 100,000. Listen, so the more people are praying, the more we are being lifted. Right? We are setting those things to flight. We are setting those things away from us into the atmosphere. And so I am forever grateful just knowing that. Right? And so listen, if you're not doing it, start, try, give yourself a goal and begin to measure that goal. Right? Begin to measure those goals. What does those goals look like? It doesn't have to only be for praying that the person have a good day. We can also cover them in many ways and pray for them in many ways. It doesn't just have to be about that. What are some things that you pray for your spouse? What are some things that you pray for your significant other? What are some things that you pray for your fiance? Come on, I want to hear some of this from the people that are watching, our viewers, because it's important to us. Caring is sharing. Right? So we want you to share, encourage some other couples, right? Encourage some other couples as to ways that they can go about covering their spouse, right? And so not only do I want to talk about covering the spouse, but I want to just talk a little bit about genuinely loving your spouse, a true, genuine love. Right? Because I seen something on Facebook that has really shook me to the core, and we're not going to talk about that yet, but it really shook me to the core, because how can 2 people be together for so long and you lose the love? Right? That's a good question. That's a good question. How can that happen? But I'll share Monica's comment. His mind and speaking peace over him. Yes, Monica. Yes, that is a good covering. Praying for his mind and speaking peace over him. Listen, all of last week, I needed somebody to be speaking peace over me. I needed somebody to be covering me and keeping my mind stayed focused, because some of these weeks are trying. Some of these days are trying. Missionary Addison, thank you. I pray for healing, prosperity, guidance, and growth in his relationship with God. Those things are essential, especially to those who are not for those spouses who do not have a relationship with God, right? Not saying that Missionary Addison's husband doesn't have a relationship with God, but I'm just saying for those that don't. Let's see, Trey. Trey's adding, I pray for my girlfriend when she wakes up and goes to sleep. I pray that God keeps her safe, opens doors for her, to remind her that no weapon formed against her will prosper, and to remind her that she's loved by God. I speak peace over her, and that whenever she sets her feet, she sets her feet, she's blessed. What a wonderful covering. What a wonderful covering. Go ahead, baby.
Because we never know when people are away from us, we never know what they encounter in the course of their day. And some people don't always voice what it is they're dealing with inside. And so it's good that somehow, somewhere through the course of the day, just to take a moment, and tell somebody, I'm thinking about you. I wish the best for you in this day. And as Elder Trey said, all those wonderful superlatives that he said to his girlfriend. This is what we should do to the ones that we care about. Because if you really care about somebody, you want them to have the best day. You want them to have a good, solid day with no kind of encumbrances. And when you do that, what you do, you speak affirmations into the air. You speak that positivity over them, that it will go with them wherever they go.
Oh, and so listen, I'm so glad that you brought that up. See, listen, we are in tune. spiritually, because I wanted to talk about power. I wanted to talk about the power inside of you. I wanted to talk about the power of a praying couple, but I want to just talk about power, right? And so we're talking about covering, but do you know that your covering has the power to change the atmosphere, not only over you, but over your spouse? It has the power to change whatever your spouse is going through at that very moment. When you tap in, tune in, and begin to speak, right? When you begin to speak, even speaking life over your significant other, your spouse, and even over your children, right? Even over your children. You have the power. Good evening, Sister Maria. Good evening, Quintina. Thank you so much for joining us. You have the power to make change. Listen, I can always tell when my husband is not feeling well. I can tell by his facial expression. I can tell by his body language, and I can tell by his demeanor. Listen, I go into wife mode. I go into speaking life into him. I go into speaking healing. I go into changing the atmosphere that is set before him, that is set around him, that is set even within him. Because listen, when you're not always feeling your greatest, right, you begin to feel down as well in your spirit. You begin to feel down in your body, in your mind. But just knowing that when I come up to him and say, babe, I speak life to you. I speak healing to you. I speak wholeness and recovery to you, right? How does that make you feel?
I feel good.
Because
I feel rejuvenated in a sense
yes.
that I'm not dealing with what I'm dealing with alone. I have somebody who I can who can share this burden with me.
Good. And so that's how I feel too. Because listen, I tell you, when I'm not feeling well, and I'm sick in my body, and my husband just lays it's something about when he has healing hands, y'all. Let me show y'all these hands. He has healing hands, right? When he lays his hand on my back, right, I feel strength. And I'm not just saying this for y'all. This is true. What you see with me is what you get. People tell you I don't put on no airs, but what you see with me is what you get. Listen, when he puts his hands on my body, especially on my back in the lower lumbar area, I begin to feel strength. Right? I begin to feel strength. Good evening to you, Darlene Lee. Thank you so much for joining us. I feel strength. So listen, stop being just any ordinary couple. You can be a power couple, right? You can be you don't have to be married to be a power couple. You can be engaged. You could be on the road in your journey to marriage. I believe Trey was sharing about his girlfriend. And I just wanted to say one more thing that Trey said. I also pray for her family and her parents and all of that stuff. Listen, you can be a power couple too. Change the dynamic and the way that you begin to speak, right? I used to hear it's mind over matter, right? It is truly mind over matter, because you have to have a made up mind and believe what it is that you speak. Right? You can't say that I want my husband to be healed, but you constantly say, oh, he's sick, he's not feeling well. No, I don't claim sickness. I don't claim any of that. I decree and declare my husband's already walking in his healing, and it is manifesting. It is manifesting. And so therefore, it's already done. It's already done in my mind, right? And it's being manifested. Anybody want to share? Anybody want to share? Jump in, please jump in at any time and share. I love to hear your feedback. This is a show, not a broadcast, not just about us talking, but it's about us
exchanging thoughts about how you feel about a particular subject.
Yes, because we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. Right?
This is how people grow. This is how we learn. We learn from others. You know. So we want you to share your experiences, or share your thoughts.
Listen, and when your kids begin to see you covering one another, right, they will begin to cover you as well. Not only you, but they will begin to cover themselves and cover their friends. Listen, what we are trying to do is change the dynamic of the way that we operate. Great. The way that we operate, right? And so I love it. Honestly, gosh, I really do love it when I see couples praying together, right? I love it when I see couples praying together. I love it when I see, thank you, Tanisha, for joining us. Hey, girlfriend, how are you? Thank you so much. Definitely watch the rebroadcast. But listen, the playback. But listen, I love to see people empowering one another. Listen, we've got to change the way listen, we have got to get rid of stinking thinking. Right? We have got to get rid of negativity in our thought process, negativity in the way that we operate. Listen, they say that anything that you do for 28 days, it becomes a habit, right? If you're not covering your significant other or your spouse, start. I challenge you. I challenge you to do it for the next 28 days. I challenge you to do it. When you wake up in the morning, right? If you two are not praying together and you cannot, you can't, some people work different shifts. Some people may get up earlier than the other. Some people may work at different times, and so they're going to bed at different times or waking up at different times, and you're unable to pray together. Listen, constantly at night, I do it so much that I do it in my sleep. Right? I'm constantly rubbing my husband's head. And when I rub his head when we're watching TV, I'm praying for him. Right? And I do it so much that I find myself doing it when I'm asleep. I'll wake up and my hand is literally rubbing his head because I do it all the time. That now I do it unconsciously. It's something that I do all the time. So I challenge you.
And it also, you may not believe this, but when you pray or give a positive affirmation over somebody, you strengthen them and you get that strength back. It's like, as we say in the world, that's karma. Whatever you give out, that's what you get back.
Yes.
The Bible calls it sowing and reaping. What a man sows, that shall he reap. If you reap that love, if you reap that encouragement, it'll come back. And even sometimes you might find the significant other or the spouse is not wanting to do that. You keep doing it because it will change them, because you have changed your atmosphere where you are. And that's the power that comes with being in covenant.
And I want to share, we talked about when you wake up covering each other, but listen, begin to cover them through the day. If you are not sending an encouraging text or because listen, nowadays you could send a voice message to your spouse or I constantly keep saying significant other because we have people who are engaged and on the road to marriage. So listen, I challenge you also to begin to find some time during the day to send an encouraging message. Watch and see how it changes the dynamic of your marriage, how it changes the dynamic of your relationship, right? Because we don't know what someone's going through in the course of a day. And I always say, I say this to my church family, that when God puts someone on your mind, right? You know how you say, oh, they popped in my spirit. Well, there is a reason that they're popping into your spirit, right? So I say you should always say a prayer for them. But if you don't say a prayer for them, reach out to them. Just send them a text. Hey, how are you doing? Or, hey, I'm just checking in on you. Because listen, what we don't do, we don't check on our friends who are the strongest because we think that they're okay. Right? We don't check on our friends who are married a lot because we think that they got their spouse and that they're a team and that everything's okay. But listen, couples go through it too. Right? Couples go through it too. So listen, when God places someone in your spirit, in your heart, in your mind, God is entrusting them to you. That you would either reach out, that you would either send a text, that you would even call. I would say call, but people don't call like they used to. People rather text this day and age, right? I like to call or leave that voice message to let them know that I'm thinking about them. What do you do? What do you do when somebody falls in your spirit? What do you do when somebody falls on your heart? What do you do when you dream of someone, right? Do you act upon that? Or is it just, I just let it go by the wayside? Right? Sometimes our dreams have purpose. right? There's purpose in our dreams. We're not just randomly dreaming our dreams, right? We should be writing down our dreams as well, because our dreams are significant.
Our messages from heaven to give you understanding about certain events that might take place.
Quintina sharing and setting the atmosphere. My son says that I am the peace. I love that. I'm a teacher, so I'm gonna stop on that little section right there. I am the peace, right? I am the peace. He's speaking it, that this is what I am. This is what I am, and make everything peaceful. Oh my goodness, Caleb. All right, prophet. Where he is fire and his dad is the lava from a volcano. Come on, Quintina. Come on, Quintina. Listen, y'all can catch Quintina on Wednesdays. She has her broadcast as well. Let me just put that little plug in there. Her show is called Fostering the Kingdom, right? Tap into the shows that we have and the broadcasts that we have on Ascend, on FOS,
following Fellowship of the Sun.
Yes, and so check them out. So that's just my little shameless plug right there. And so I just wanted to share that, because people, right, are letting their dreams die. People are letting their dreams die. So I'm a pastor, so I just want to share. Sunday I preach about I'm recovering all that belongs to me. I'm recovering all that belongs to me. And I'm so glad that Quintina wrote that about I am peace, right? Because listen, there's some marriages that are going through, right? God's just taking me there. There's some marriages that are going through, but you can speak the change that you want, the change that you want to see take place in your marriage. You can even speak the change that you need to begin to take place over you. The change that you need to take place over your mind, over your body, over your atmosphere. Listen, be the game changer, right? This is the last quarter, right? And so if you know, I'm a football fan. I love to watch sports, right? But my team is the Giants. And prior to now, right? Because they're not really doing the best right now, but I'm still a fan. They my team, and I'm gonna stick by them. And so they used to be a team back in the day that if they were losing in the game, you can always count on them to come back in the last quarter. They would always begin to come back in the last quarter, even in Super Bowls, right? If you've seen them play the Super Bowls that they've played, they were a last inning team, right? They would always come back in the last quarter where they were struggling, where they were losing, where they were falling short. And so I say to you today, right? I say to you, in this last quarter, finish strong. Wherever you are falling short, begin to pick that up and speak change into it and watch God work, because there is power inside of you, right? Our Dr. Joshua Mills, right? Our mentor and our teacher, he always talks about heart to heart, mind to mind, spirit to spirit, being one with God, right? Being one with God. If God is able to make change and you are like God, doesn't that mean that you are able to cause things to change? We are 8:59, but listen, there's a lineup that comes on the Fellowship of Sons that you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss. We have Quintina on Wednesdays. She comes on again, like I said, she does Fostering the Kingdom. I believe on the alternate Wednesdays is Coach TK. She's a therapist, the licensed therapist. On Thursdays, Dr. Joshua Mills comes on and with his prophetic gift. Listen, if you have not tapped in and heard Dr. Joshua Mills, you are truly missing out. Okay. On Sundays, we have Carl Casey. We have Ambassador Shaldine Byron. We have a lineup where you don't want to miss it. Listen, tune in so that you can continue to stay blessed. But listen, I want to speak life over every married couple that is watching this broadcast on tonight. I speak life into your marriage. I speak life into your home. I speak peace into your home. I speak prosperity over your marriage. I speak love. I speak that your love will begin to overflow like never before. Listen, I want your love to be so strong that it's stronger than the day that you got married, right? It's stronger than the day that you fell in love. It's stronger than the day when you looked into his eyes and you wanted to say you love him, but you was holding back for him to say it first. Listen, I want your marriages to begin to take on an overflow. I wanted to take on an overflow. And so I speak this to every couple under the sound of my voice.
And not just an overflow, a revitalization, a vitality, like it was when that first day y'all knew this was the one. There's an old gospel song, "Take me back, take me back, dear Lord, to the place where I first received you." Sometimes we got to say that about the ones we're married to and connected to. Just take me back to that place where I first found you.
That's good. That's good. Because a lot of times, you know, the word of the Lord says, what once was
shall be again.
Shall be again. And so I speak a rejuvenation over your households, over your family, over your children. I pray that you finish strong in whatever it is that you're doing, right? And so my shirt says, where God guides, he provides. Isaiah 58:11. Where God guides, he provides. He will provide everything that you need, right? He has already provided everything that you need, because everything that you need can be found inside of you.
Amen.
Inside of you, right? And the most important thing that I want to share again is that life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? And so if your marriage is dying, what are you speaking over your marriage? Good question, right? If we're really honest, right? What are you speaking over your marriage, right? If you're not being positive, right? Stop subtracting and start adding, right? Because you are not less than.
You're more than.
Thank you, overseer. And so if you're more than and your husband is more than, there's an abundance.
That's right.
There's an abundance. And so, hey, listen, we try to stay at a half hour with our segment and our broadcast. And so we thank you. We thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. Missionary, we thank you so much. Where she says, thank you for blessing our homes and our households. You are certainly welcome. Listen, don't forget to tune in every Tuesday night at 8:30, where love still matters after the vows. We are so grateful. We are so grateful that you thought enough to tune in to us, right? We are so grateful that you thought enough to tune into us, and we look forward to seeing you. Come next month, we will be having some special guests coming on the show and sharing. So you won't just be hearing from us too. You will be hearing from newlyweds. You will be hearing from couples who was divorced and got back together again, where God restored their love, right? So it ain't over until God says that it's over, right? Until God says it's over. Because we give up on one another. We give up on men. You know, I love it. Blessings to you, Carl. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, my mom says that anything worth having is worth fighting for, right? And working for it. Don't be so quick to throw up your hands. Don't be so quick to give up. Listen, because be a fighter. Be a fighter. Fight for what you believe in. Listen, if I said that you won the lotto and you had the right numbers, but then they call you and tell you, oh, you know what? We don't think you have those numbers. Listen, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Right? You gonna just give in and just be like, okay. No, you want your money, right? Just like you would want your money, You want your marriage to be successful. You want your marriage to withstand the test of time, right? Listen, our marriage hasn't always been perfect, right? People still talk about us going to Hawaii for 3 weeks. You know why we went to Hawaii? Because in 25 years, we've had some ups, some downs, some real downs, and some real ups. You know what? It may have been hard, but it was worth it. It was worth it. I wouldn't turn back the hands of time, and I wouldn't change anything that happened in our marriage, because you know what?
We learned from it.
We did, but it made us stronger. It really made us stronger. And it really intensified our love for one another, right? And the most important thing is we grew together. We grew together. We grew together in love. We grew together in ministry. And listen, you guys don't know how hard it was for me to be obedient to the Lord to even start this broadcast in this segment, right? But the Lord said that this is our calling, right? And so people began to speak that into our lives, people who didn't even know that we were starting up to do a marriage broadcast. Right. So I just thank God that he's allowing us to be able to speak into your life and to share again, because, caring is sharing. Right. And so as we get ready to close out, we do not own the rights to this music, but, I got my little personal DJ here with me, my girl, Alexa. And so I'm going to ask Alexa to play Ain't No Stopping Us Now. Because listen, I speak life into your marriage. And guess what?
Ain't no stopping
There will be no stopping you, because you are going to finish strong in this quarter. So when you get ready to bark, Alexa, play Ain't No Stopping Us Now. When you get ready to get into January
Ain't No Stopping Us Now,
yes,
by Spice
girlfriend.
Girls,
Thank
featuring
you.
Luther Vandross on Amazon Music.
She about to play the wrong thing. She not even doing what she's supposed to do. But listen, I just want to say to you that ain't no stopping you, right? Whatever you need, speak it into existence. All right, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 8:30 to 9 p.m. on Fellowship of Sons, on YouTube, on Ascend, and on our personal page. God bless you. If you need prayer, if you need to speak with someone, you can message us and we'll get back to you. God bless you. Ain't no stopping you.
Have a blessed day.